Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain how to integrate Supabase to your Python project or to your Python Reflex project. Right, so the first thing you'll have to do is you need to go to supabase.com/pricing, and then you're going to select the plan you want to register for. So in this tutorial we're going to go with the free plan, so you can go with any plan you want to go for. For this tutorial we're going to go with the free plan. Right, so you're going to select this. I have registered before, so I have an account with Supabase. In your case, you're going to select the start for free plan. Then you're going to register, and after registering, you're going to create a project. Give your project a name, and then give your database a password. After that, you're going to have a project like this. Then the next thing you will have to do is probably we'll have to create a table. So I can come to my table editor here, click on this, and then you have create a new table. So I'm going to click on create a new table. Right, I'm going to give my table a name. So for this video, I'm going to give the table, I'll say to dos. That is going to be my table name. And then I'm going to enable row level security. It's going to restrict access to your table by enabling row level security and writing Postgres policy. So this is important, right? We're going to leave this as it is, and then I'm going to scroll down. So in this case, I have an ID created as field. Then I'm going to add a new column. For this, I'll just say for this video, I'll give this column a name. So that's going to be, or I should just say to do name. After this, I'm going to give my data type. I can just use, let's say, text, right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this, save, creating new table to do, adding 3 columns to dos, right? It's going to create the table for us in Supabase, right? We're going to wait for this to complete. Right, so our table is created, table to do is good to go. Right, it's going to load the table. So we have an ID column created at and to do name. Right, so because we added a row level security, I'm going to add a policy so that I can be able to read the data in my table. Right, so I'm going to click on this, add row level security policy. So the policy I want to add is that I'll click on this create policy. Right, so this is what I have. So I'm going to add a select policy. So for this video, this select policy basically is going to enable me to read the data in the table. Right, so the data I have there is going to give me access to be able to read. Right, because normally if you don't have any policy, if you don't create any policy, you would not be able to read or to even use the data in the table, right? So I'm going to create a policy here. First off, I'm going to click on this, give my policy a name. I can say, what should I call this? Select all policy, and then the next thing. So you can go with insert policy. Maybe you want only authenticated users be able to insert data to your table. So you can do all of this right here. So but for this video, I'm going to go with select, and then I'll come down and say provide a SQL expression for the using statement. So I'm just going to say true, right? So this is what we have, right? Remember I said row level security, it protects your data from malicious actors even when accessed through third-party tooling, right? So if you have row level security enabled for Supabase data rows, when you don't have any policy, if you try to access your data, you're not going to get anything, right? So that is why they're important. And then for you to be able to make use of the data, you need to create a policy. So in this case, I'm creating a select policy. So in your case, you can go with an insert policy that only authenticated users with this particular user ID will be able to like insert data to your table, create an update policy and all that. So in this case, I'm just going to go with this. So I gave it a name. I said select all policy. And then for this, I said true. Then I'm going to save my policy. So basically what this is going to enable me to do, and then what I'm going to do next is I need to go back to my table. So to do table, I'm going to add a row. I'm going to create a row, insert a row. So I'll say insert row. What I'm going to give. So this ID is automatic. This is also automatic. It's going to be added for me automatically. So I'm going to say first to do just any text there, and I'm going to save. This is just for an example. Right. So I have this data. Now the next thing is how are we going to be able to access this data or make use of this data in our Python project? So I'm going to go to my Python. I have this Python simple reflex project. I don't have anything in my project.py now. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to type in some code here. Basically, what I want to do is to read the data I have in my table, in my to-dos table, in my Python project. And this Python project is a Reflex project. In case you don't know about Reflex, Reflex is a full stack Python framework that allows you to build your web application using just Python. And you can be able to deploy your web application using Reflex hosting platform. You can check it out, it's really awesome. Right. So for me to be able to read the data which I've created in my Supabase table, so the first thing you will have to do is you need to install Supabase. So we have this Supabase Python package. So you say pip install Supabase. Gonna- I think I have that already. So and then we were supposed to get the so when you create your project, you're gonna get your Supabase API keys and the Supabase URL. To get those, you're going to go to your project settings, right? So when you go to your project settings, you go to API. So you get the Supabase URL and then also your project API key. You're going to go with the public, right? After getting those, the next thing you will have to do is to export those values, right? So I can see when you get those, you say export Supabase underscore URL is equals to, then you paste the Supabase URL, right? I have mine already. And then the other thing you say is export Supabase. So I highlight this is supposed to be in capital letter. Supabase key, right? And then you're going to paste the Supabase key. You need to go with the public key, right? Supabase, you have the public key and also the private key. So you can go with the public key. The private key also that has advanced privileges, but I think you should go with the public key, right? After exporting those values, then you can now come down to your Python project, and then I'm gonna say import OS. So I'm going to use OS to read those exported environment variables. So after importing OS, I'll say import Supabase. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do is Supabase underscore URL is this string. equals os dot environ dot get. So it's gonna get the exported key. You're gonna get the exported URL source here underscore, right? And then Supabase underscore p is also a string, and also os dot environ dot get. It's gonna get the exported Supabase key, right? And then I'm going to initialize a Supabase client. That will say Supabase dot client. I'm gonna pass the URL and then the Supabase key. Right? It's gonna create a client which we're going to use to communicate with our Supabase database. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a function that is going to get the data for me, get to do data, and then this is going to I'm going to return it as a string. So that's a responses response equals to Supabase clients dot table, right? And then I'm going to pass my table name. So I called my table to do, and then I will say select. I'm going to select all the data I have there, and then I'm going to say execute. Now, if you want to see more about this Supabase query, you're going to go. You can go to this address supabase.com/docs/reference/python/installing. Right, you're going to get the docs on how to work with Supabase, some of the query language you're going to make use of, how to fetch data, all of these. So you can go to this to learn more about how to use Supabase in your Python project. Right, so if you want to see how to insert data, you can click on this. It's going to show you the going to show you how to do that, and then how to update data. You have it here, all of these, right? So it's the same thing I'm also doing here. So this value is what I got from this. How to fetch data. You have probably the table, so the select, and then execute, right? So after doing this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say response underscore data equals to response dot data, and then okay, I want it to be a string because I want to render those values in my reflex project as an example. So I will say response underscore data equals to string. I'm just converting it to a string in this project, but you don't need to convert that. Right, I just want to render and show you guys what the data is like. So I'm going to return the data. Now for me to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this function. So I'll say Supabase underscore data because I'll call the function here, right? And then because I'm going to use reflex to display the data which this gets to do data is going to return, so I'm going to import reflex. Why do I have Supabase or clients here? This is not needed. So I'm going to import reflex. So I'll say import reflex. Right. Just like I said, Reflex is a Python full stack framework that enables you to build web applications, both the front end and the back end, using a single language, Python. Right, I'm going to use Reflex to render the data which this gets to do data is going to return. Right. Remember, and I said also that you don't need to convert the response to a string. Normally, it's going to give you a list of dictionary. You don't need to convert that to a string, but I did that in this example because I just want to render the data in my. I'm just going to use Reflex to render the data, right? That's what I did this. So imported Reflex, and then I've installed Reflex before for this project. Then what I'm going to do, I'll say def. I'm going to declare a page. So this is going to be an index page. In Reflex, we use function to declare our components, just like in React. So I'll say Rx dot importing. So I'll say import Reflex as Rx, and then I have the component here. So this is a Reflex component, just like a page. You can think of it like a page. It's going to return Rx a text. It's going to return a text, which is what this is going to give us. So I'll just copy this, Supabase, and then I can say color scheme. And let me just say tomato. So just to give it a color, and then app is equals to Rx dot app, and then app dot add page. That page is going to be, I'm going to add the index page there, right? So let's see. I'm going to start my Reflect project. So I'll say Reflex run, then enter. Let's see. Starting Reflex application. Did you mean client? So let's see. Supabase dot client. So this was supposed to be in capital letter, right? That was what means. Then I'm going to clear this. Then Reflex run. Yeah, project is starting. Right, so I'll go to, let's see what we have. So it was supposed to render the data that exactly. So we have this. So if you notice, it is the same data which I have in my to do table. So let me go to my table and show you guys. So the same thing I have here first to do is the same thing I have here, right? So basically, that is how you're supposed to integrate Reflex to your project, integrate Supabase to your project, right? And thanks for watching this video.